Hey, this is Megan in the restricted section. Today I'm going to review my TBR pick for the month of April, which was Blackout by Connie Willis. And then I'm going to draw my TBR jar pick for May. So, this book was about these college students at Oxford who they call themselves historians, and they travel back in time basically to observe history. Disclaimer, I'm not going to keep this spoiler free. So they each have different projects that they're working on. For example, one of them, his project is to observe heroes, and so he goes back to certain points in history when what you could consider like ordinary people did heroic things and observes them. And then one girl observed like evacuee children during World War II. All the historians in this book go back to certain points during World War II. And there's something going on with, they go to this lab where they get sent back in time, and there's something going on with the lab, and assignments are getting rescheduled, and people are getting sent early or late, or the order of their assignments are getting switched around, and they're not really sure what's going on. And then 3 different historians end up going back to World War II and getting stuck there. The places where they're supposed to go back home to Oxford in like the year 2060, they don't work, and so they end up finding each other, and then that's kind of how the book ends. So I enjoyed this book. I actually read it pretty quickly. It was really pretty interesting, but the characters were kind of flat, I felt. I didn't think that they were super well developed. I didn't really have a personal investment in any of them. So I don't know, it's not that I disliked them, it's just that I didn't really care. They weren't, I guess, multifaceted enough for me to really care about them. But I really liked the historical part of it. I feel like it was really well researched, and I thought it was fascinating to read about some of the major events in World War II in London. So that part was really good. And of course I like the time travel bit because I like time travel things. And part of the premise of this book is that historians are unable to alter the course of history because time itself corrects for that to a certain point. So I thought that was kind of an interesting, like, fail-safe, like a good explanation as to why, or an interesting explanation as to why they could send all these people back in time without consequence. But there were certain events that were considered like divergence points where historians were not allowed to go because of the high probability that they would do something that would influence the future. So the net is what they call like the time travel network or whatever, wouldn't even allow historians to be sent to a divergent point. It would send them somewhere else, or it would send them to that place like a few days earlier than they were anticipating, or a few days later. So if there was any chance that they could have altered history by being there at that time, the net or time itself would kind of correct for that and send them somewhere else. So that was kind of how they explained that, which was interesting. What kind of irritated me a little bit, and this is totally my fault, is that I didn't realize that this was the first book and there's like a number 2. So this totally ended on a very like unsatisfying cliffhanger. And so now if I want to know what happens, I have to read the second book. So, you know, I read myself into an obligation is what I did, because I want to know what happens. So now I have to read the second one. But that was my bad, because I probably easily could have realized that, because on Goodreads it says number 1. So I was just not paying attention, I guess. But anyway, so overall it was pretty decent. I can't remember if I gave it 3 or 4 stars. I don't remember what I ended up rating it, but really it was just the character development that kind of fell flat for me. I would have liked to have seen more interesting characters, I guess. So, I don't know. I mean, part of it is, though, I think that they are supposed to blend in to the scenarios that they're sent to and the time periods they're sent to, so I guess they're kind of supposed to be inconspicuous, but that just seems a little bit too neat and tidy to me. Like, humans are not neat and tidy like that. So, I don't know. Anyway, I liked it though. Overall, I thought it was good. And I'm going to read the goddamn second book. Alright, so now I'm going to pick from my TBR jar to see what I'm going to read from it next month. Let's see what that will be. What's this? Okay, Darkness at Noon by Arthur Ketzler. I think I started to read this a while back and then got caught up in reading something else and then just kind of forgot about it. So, yeah, good deal. So that is, yeah, I did start reading this. I didn't make it very far though. It looks like I made it 40 pages in. So this was a library sale buy. And it says it was originally published in 1941. And it is a powerful and haunting portrait of a communist revolutionary caught in the vicious fray of the Moscow show trials in the late 1930s. So yeah, during Stalin's purges, Nicholas Rubashov, an aging revolutionary, is imprisoned and psychologically tortured by the party he has devoted his life to. Under mounting pressure to confess to crimes he did not commit, Rubashov relives a career that embodies the ironies and betrayals of a revolutionary dictatorship that believes it is an instrument of liberation. Okay, so I'm sure that this will be interesting. And it's one of my library sale buys, so I'm happy to be reading my way through those, especially because there's another library sale at the end of this month, and I'm going to buy more shit because I'm helpless. So, there's that. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. As usual, there's going to be some links down below where you can find Sue and I elsewhere on social media. And if you're not already subscribed to the restricted section, you should do it. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!